Hello, I'm Crispin and welcome to Poker Room Review, your guide for live poker rooms all across the world. In each episode, we review a live poker venue, discussing the important things you need to know when planning your next poker destination. For each venue, we review a range of characteristics, including location and access, game options, service and experience, and rake and rewards. We also discuss any rules, quirks, and issues relating to each location. Today, we head to the European Low Countries, the home of NATO, the EU Parliament, and potato frites, the Belgian capital of Brussels. When thinking about poker destinations, it's unlikely that Brussels comes front of mind. This location flies well under the radar, and yet it's a location that proved quite the unique experience. We've played there, so let's discuss it. Category 1, location and access. You cannot go wrong traveling to Brussels, and there are many ways in. As a major international hub, Brussels enjoys direct flights from anywhere in Europe, much of North America, Asia, and the Middle East. The only thing to remember is that if you're coming in direct from outside the EU, I did find the airport queues rather slow as the immigration seems understaffed. Flying is also not the only option. The Eurostar high-speed rail comes through there as well. It gets up to well over 300 kilometers per hour. So for example, you can get a train from London to Brussels and it takes 2 hours right under the English Channel. Casino Viage is incredibly easy to get to, and Brussels has a surprisingly nice aesthetic. There are hundreds of places to stay locally, and even if you're out of Brussels proper getting in, it's an easy commute with public transport in every direction. Charging for entry is a bit of a drawback, but it's not a huge amount and it's only once. For location and access, 4.5 stars. Category 2, game options. This is where things get a bit more narrow and is one of the 2 reasons why it is not a bigger cash game draw. The games start around 7 PM nightly at a €5 minimum, uncapped. PLO is on the books, and according to staff, they'll get a 2-4 game up occasionally, but it never ran while I was there. You'll also want to get in early to put your name down because although they get 2 tables up eventually, the second one won't normally get up till around 8:30 or 9 o'clock. However, one charming thing about the game options is that in addition to the 5-5 cash game, there is a self-dealt poker tournament that happens each night costing around €100 entry. The tournament is small, more like a 2-table sit and go, but cool to see, and self-dealt games are a rarity in modern casinos. Still, with the limited hours and even more limited games, the options available to you are few. However, if 5-5 evening hold'em cash games is your jam, then that's perfectly fine. For game options, 2 stars. 3. Service and experience. Now first, I want to contrast Casino Viage's service with Brussels as a whole because these 2 things do not really line up. The staff at Casino Viage, from the cloakroom to the waitstaff to the dealers, are all first rate, friendly, helpful, and likable. And yet if you go to the local restaurants in town, it can sometimes be a bit of a chore. You may have heard that Brussels doesn't really have much of a service culture, and I did not believe it until I got there, but having experienced it, you should as well. Except for Lloyd's Cafe near the train station, you guys are amazing. Definitely go there. Except those on the menu are not Australian pancakes. I have no clue where you got that idea. But yes, Casino Viage staff are excellent, dealers are fast and efficient, and the setting is both luxurious and comfortable. And there is something which reinforces that, a dress code. Listen carefully because this is super, super important. When you go to Casino Viage in Brussels, dress nicely. The poker hoodie and shorts is not going to cut it. They will not let you in. And you know what? I actually don't mind this because the service and setting reflects this level of class, and you feel like a debonair cosmopolitan playing at Casino Viage. I mean, why not dress up for this venue? This class is also reflected in the menu. The food they serve is superb, properly restaurant prepared, coming out on nice silverware, but the sizings, my God, make sure you show up hungry because they are huge. The only drawback is they charge for everything, including non-alcoholic drinks, but at least you get premium service for that price. As for the poker, again, the furniture is superb, the chips themselves are nice, the area very clean, and the dealer's professional. There are shuffling machines, but while I was playing, they broke down repeatedly, so hopefully they've been serviced or replaced since my last visit. The only main drawback is that although there is free Wi-Fi, accessing it is tied to your personal customer code, which changes daily, and you have to get that code from the staff at the front desk. Being it's the early evening when the game starts, tends to be frustratingly busy. Personally, this seems like a lot of unnecessary process. Get your SIM card somewhere else and avoid using the Wi-Fi, which is a hassle. The only other drawback for myself as an English speaker is that French is the lingua franca, which is great if French is your preferred language, but for those of us reliant on English to get by, you can get a bit confused. That said, I'm never going to mark a players down for speaking their own language outside of a major tournament. It's somewhat hard to grade all the service quality because it's all about class and style rather than the poker. Still, if you want to feel debonair and classy in an old European city, you cannot go wrong here. Just remember to dress the part, so for service and experience, 4 stars. 4. Rake and Rewards. I mentioned that limited game options was one of 2 reasons Brussels wasn't a famous poker draw. This is the other. For 5-5 Hold'em, the rake is capped at €30, which is raked regressively down from 10% in €50 pots, decreasing as a percentage as the size of the pot increases, hitting the cap at €500. €30 in rake for a single hand is massive, and I suspect pretty big deterrent given there are also no high hands, jackpots, or cash races that are giving money back that I could detect. And although, as I say, Omaha didn't get up while I was there, assuming it does, €30 caps are going to hit hard pretty much always. Now, yes, the casino is in a really expensive area in a highly developed part of the world. I'm sure what they'd say is that you're paying for the service and class, and I'd agree with this. The edge would be taken off if you made like other things free. If you made the food free, the wine free, gave a credit for the supplies for every hour of play, make sure that the rake is covering everything. This rather modest rebate on food and drinks would make players feel like they were paying for an all-inclusive premium gaming experience. As is though, the extremely high rake makes the lemonade that you pay for taste fairly bitter. For Rake and Rewards, 1 star. Rules and quirks. Aside from the dress code, which bears repeating because it's really important, Mississippi straddles are allowed and frequently employed. Now, I know this is a matter of taste, but personally, I think Mississippi straddles can be bad for the game. It murders the small blind who now has to act first, which is especially dirty in a 5-5 game, given they're paying the same as the big blind. Meanwhile, the cutoff just gets a huge positional and information advantage, which is generally inequitable unless everyone is playing a Mississippi straddle, which is seldom the case. So every orbit, they're going to get a big boost in the hand. Now, you may disagree with me and love the Mississippi. That's fine. Just be aware that it is in play at Casino Viage. Other than that, you can run it twice for all-in pots that exceed €500, and pretty much everything else appeared standard. Honestly though, even though the scoring here is min-maxed, Casino Viage is really underrated and deserves a higher profile. Brussels as a city, I think, is drowned out by some of the places near it, even within Belgium, such as Bruges. Having been there now though, I see it's really unfair and it deserves your time. Casino Viage is perfectly located, really nice and comfortable, and just an all-round elegant place to be. Granted, if all you're looking for from your trip is non-stop poker action, Brussels is not the right destination for that. But if you're looking for poker as part of a bigger trip, then this really is a must-see. For Casino Viage, 3 stars. We review new poker rooms regularly, so if you found value in this discussion, please hit the like and subscribe buttons because it's the only way that YouTube will know that that's the case. Also, please, if you have access to any Facebook groups or poker forums, please consider sharing this video because getting more views is the only way we can make more content. In the meantime, have you been to Casino Viage in Brussels? If so, what did you think? Is there anything that I've missed or recommendations you'd like to include? I'm sure everyone would appreciate it down below. If you wish, you can check out more reviews right now. Otherwise, thank you for watching and we'll see you next time. Goodbye.